Hey there, this is Cheryl with New Life Network, and this is kind of part 3 of videos that I'm teaching right now on marriage. Marriage is just such an important part of our society today, and it truly seems to be falling apart. And I want to encourage you in your marriage. For those of you who are single, you listen to this too, because you might be married one day. And if you're not, you might be ministering to somebody who is. So in our first one, we talked about the differences between men and women. And in the second one, we talked about communication and the things that can really hinder us. And we talked about date nights and that sort of thing. Right now, today, I want to talk to you about a subject called pockets with holes. And it actually comes from Haggai 1, 6 through 8. And let me read this to you. It says, "You plant much, but harvest little. You have scarcely enough to eat or drink, and not enough clothes to keep you warm. Your income disappears as though you were putting it into pockets filled with holes. Think it over, says the Lord Almighty. Consider how you have acted and what has happened as a result." Years ago, a man named Edwin Lewis Cole wrote a book called Communication, Sex, and Money. And he said those 3 things are 3 very important issues in marriages. And pockets with holes talks about where we work and we work and we work and we pay the bills and there's never enough money. And the Lord said, think about what you have done and how you have acted and the result. Here's the deal. I think money's a big issue in every marriage. And I realize that we've got men working, women working. Some people put everything in one pot. Some people have his account, hers account. Some people have secret accounts. That is never good. You know, when it comes to money, I think this has to be the most open, honest part of your marriage. Because, you know, you can mess with a lot of things, but you start messing with somebody's money and you are in deep trouble. Let me give you some examples. When Ed and I first got married, for many, many years, I handled the checkbook. We only had one checkbook. I didn't work. So, and he traveled all the time in his position in the Postal Service. So here's how we did it. And we did it together, believe it or not. He would come home, he got paid every other week, and I would put the check in the bank, and I would go in there, and I would pay the bills that I needed to pay, and I would go back to him, and I'd say, okay, I paid this bill, this bill, this bill. We have this much left over. What are we going to do with this part? And he would say, tithe this much, do this, do that. So I actually physically wrote the checks. Now, this is back before mobile banking and cell phones and all that. And then, but we were both on the same page. We knew exactly how much money was in the account. I didn't go behind his back and do anything. He didn't go behind my back and do anything. So everything was out in the open, and it made it really good. Well, as time went by and I started working, I said, I want my own account. And he said, well, I want to take over the bills. And I said, great. So he had an account where he took over all the bill paying. I had my own account where my paycheck came to, but we still did things together. He would say, okay, I need you to pay this and this, and I'll take care of this and this. And it still was a very open and honest thing. I hear a lot of couples talk about, well, I've got my mad money over here. Well, I got this little secret account over here. Let me tell you something. Deception in a marriage is never good on any level. Everything when it comes to money needs to be out in the open. Now, because I'm a Christian and I believe in tithing, I believe it's really important that you are in agreement about that. You know, agreement is really important in marriages. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to do everything's going to be the same, but it does mean you're in agreement with what you're doing with your finances. Let me just tell you this. When Ed first got saved, he thought tithing was crazy. He said, we ain't doing that. God's got to know that I don't even have enough money to pay my bills. How can I do 10%? No, we're not doing that. Well, I just said, well, Lord, you're going to have to fix it if you want this household to tithe. So he went on a trip. He was gone about a week. He was in New York City. He comes back from the trip. He walks in the door. He throws his suitcases down on the floor and he says, okay, you win. And I said, oh, really? What did I win? He said, you will not believe, everywhere I went in New York City and I turned on the TV, somebody was preaching on tithing. He said, I couldn't get away from it and I knew God was talking to me. So he said, I don't know how we're going to do it, but we're going to do it. And I said, okay, let's do it. And you know, sometimes you don't have to talk your spouse into anything. Let God do it. He can do it a lot better than you can. So Pockets with Holes is really talking about working together on your finances, making sure everybody's on the right accounts. And by the way, let me just tell you this real quick. I had a couple come in my office one time, and she was not on any account. And they had 4 little children. And I'm telling you, I kind of got all over him. I said, if you were to walk out of here and drop dead today, how would this woman buy groceries for her children? You understand, finances has to be something that is worked out together and that you stay in unity about. Okay, guys, that's that for today. I hope you got something out of it, and I look forward to seeing you soon. God bless.